So once you believe in the power and the importance of psychological safety in boosting your team's performance, it's almost inevitable that you'll end up spending a lot of time and money and energy and resources in trying to figure out ways to boost that psychological safety for your team, because you know how many dividends it will pay down the line. But if you're investing all of that time and energy and money and resources, wouldn't it be great to be able to judge the impact, to know that what you're doing is actually making a difference? In my mind, 100% yes. So here is exactly how to do it. In her original research in 1999 on psychological safety, Professor Amy Edmondson asked her study participants 7 questions to judge their level of psychological safety. I'm not going to read through all 7 of them on this video. Here are just 2 as an example. The first one was, if you make a mistake on this team, it's often held against you. And the second one is, it's safe to take risks on this team. You can read the other 5 in the chapter on the Ultimate Guide, or just look at the professor's original research. But the important thing is that she asked her study participants to rate how strongly they agreed or how strongly they disagreed about each of these statements. Now you can do the exact same thing with your team. And if you do that, I would translate the results into numerical ratings. For example, a strongly disagree could get a rating of 1, and a strongly agree could get a rating of 5. By doing that, you can average the results and get a number that indicates how well your team is doing on each of these aspects of psychological safety. Now here's where it gets really powerful. If you run the same exercise on a regular basis, maybe once a quarter, for example, you can judge the progression of psychological safety on your team across time. And therefore, you can see the impact of all of the things you're doing to try to improve that psychological safety. Now, if you're a retrospective nerd, kind of like me, everything I just described likely sounds pretty familiar to you, because it closely resembles a popular retrospective facilitation technique that we've actually included as a first-class citizen on our platform here at Retrium. It's called Team Radar. And in Team Radar, all you do is you ask your team to rate themselves from 1 to 5, sound familiar, on different aspects of their work. Could be Scrum values, could be Scrum ceremonies, could be anything you can think of. In this case, we use Team Radar applied to the 7 aspects of psychological safety that we just mentioned. And you can plot all of the averages that come out of this on this spider plot in Team Radar in your retrospective. So think about what that can do for you. That means you could find out in real time, in the retro, what is the aspect of psychological safety that our team is struggling with the most, based on the aspect that has the lowest average? And then spend the rest of the retrospective generating insights and deciding what to do to try to narrowly improve just that aspect of psychological safety. Think about the difference that could make on your team versus, hey folks, how can we improve psychological safety? Maybe we should hang out outside of work more often. Well, maybe that would help. But that's a broad solution to a broad problem. What we're doing here is we're picking it apart. We're narrowly diving in to a very specific part of psychological safety, which should help us arrive at better solutions to improve the safety on our team going forward. So let's sum up everything we just discussed in this video. Psychological safety is critically important to high-performing teams. Therefore, we put a lot of energy into it. If we're putting a lot of energy into it, we better be measuring what we're doing to make sure it's a good investment of time. So if we're going to measure it, let's use Team Radar in retrospectives on a regular basis to make sure that we're making progress on psychological safety such that our team has a fantastic shot at becoming high-performing.